started. So, welcome to my talk on Azkaban, LinkedIn's open source workflow manager. This will be pretty short and high level because, I mean, let's face it, workflow manager is a pretty dry topic. Don't want to make, hopefully no one falls asleep in this, but there will be time for a demo and questions afterwards. So, yeah, I'm Richard Park. I've been there for 4 years at LinkedIn. I've actually seen our clusters grow from a dozen nodes to several thousand. It's an interesting journey on its own. And I'm the lead developer on Azkaban, which I think makes me qualified to give this talk. So this is my LinkedIn profile homepage, actually. And if you can see, there's like ads and there's all these like data that you can see up there. A good number of them, from the ads to the recommendations you see up there, is actually processed in Hadoop. And we process a lot of data to create these data analytic products, like P9K up there, and who view my profile. So these are two graphs. They're DAGs of dependencies. They're Hadoop jobs that create these two features. They're the actual graphs that do that, although they probably changed since I last took the snapshot of these. And we have to run these every day, sometimes multiple times a day, to refresh the data that you see on your own LinkedIn profile every day. And so that's why we need a workflow manager. We want to run our jobs, Hadoop jobs, in order, run them very regularly. We want to know when they fail, of course, and understand how they are executed. We want to know what order they're running in, what step it's on, and we want to see how it performed in the past. But a key feature we want is that we really want it to be easy to use. And so we created Azkaban, and this is during a phase when we, for some reason, started naming everything after Harry Potter stuff. And since then, we have gone over that phase, and apparently we're going down German author's road with Kafka. But the reason why we want it to be easy to use is that our customers, our actual users, aren't just software engineers or data scientists, but we found that we also had analysts who want to use it and product managers. So why not Uzi? I keep on hearing this all the time. I go to the Hadoop Summit. That was probably the #1 question people would ask us. Why not Uzi? Well, Uzi was not ready for us 4 years ago, over 4 years ago. And so we created this in-house, and we kind of kept it secret for a while. And even after a couple of years, we reevaluated, and we realized we liked what we had, and so there was no reason to switch over. It seemed like Azkaban and Uzi, we kind of approached things from two different directions. Whereas Azkaban, we decided we really wanted simple and easy, and maybe not as full featured, but we would slowly add features to get to a more complete product. While Uzi seemed to start from the opposite end, where it was pretty complex but had more features. And now there's a lot of work to slap on UIs on top of it, so it's easier to use for everyone. So a little bit about Azkaban at LinkedIn. We've been using it since early 2009. It actually predates me. Probably was created a couple of years before I joined. But it does power all of our Hadoop data products. So every data product you see on our site pretty much has run through Azkaban. And we've been using a new version of it, 2.0, and subsequent versions since late 2012. And we released it quietly earlier this year, a little fanfare. We're not big on celebration. And a little about how we run it. We have one Azkaban instance per cluster. We call it 6 clusters total. And amongst our two main clusters, our development and our production clusters, we have about 900 users. Not all of them are active, but we have 900 different users on it. About 1,500 different projects that consist of 10,000 flows. And flows are our short form for workflows. And it's about 2,500 flows running per day and 6,500 jobs that are executed per day. Not all of those are Hadoop jobs, but a good number of them are. And when I pulled these numbers, I was actually quite surprised too. I was like, how did we even get to this point? So some people might remember old Azkaban. We released it in like 2010, and this is what you might remember. And it was okay to use, I guess. It was pretty ugly, and it's like a dog barked on a computer screen. Someone engineer at LinkedIn once said it was soul-sucking how dark it was. And some of the features, like he kept on having tack-on features to this, and it kind of didn't make sense after a while. And so, mid last year, we created a new version of Azkaban called the 2.0, and this is completely rewritten from the ground up, redesigned. As you can see, it's nice and cheerful, and we actually had a UI designer on this. And so I also had to learn more about SVG and CSS than I could when doing this stuff. I'm not just a low-level programmer. So some of the Azkaban's features. Well, it, of course, schedules and runs tags, directed acyclic graphs for executions. It obviously has a web UI. It's very simple to create flows to execute. It has authorization and authentication. There's product isolation, so you can kind of work in your own resource space. And there's some auditing to keep track of what changes have been made. We found a lot of cases where someone might upload something, someone else didn't realize it, and we didn't know why things broke. So we had to add all these features. And it's extensible through plugins. And this ends up being a huge feature for us because it makes Azkaban very flexible with different environments. We actually are able to run Azkaban on different versions of Hadoop without any core changes. So the design is very simple. The simple and easy is kind of the whole thing that we're trying to stick to. And so it's pretty much one server for the web UI and one for, or several for the executors. And this allows us to scale for the future where we can have multiple executors. It is backed by a DB. Our current DB, the one that we use, is MySQL, but also included is an H2 version for a very simple, a single sole server option. Unlike Uzi, it runs everything as local processes, which is very different than. We do take advantage of the fact that Hadoop job threads and client side tend to be idle and not so resource intensive when you submit a job. They're just sitting there just waiting for it to finish. And so we can actually execute a lot of jobs this way. And again, it's accessible and customizable. And so we can actually change how almost every aspect of how we execute a job. We can actually make it easy, like if we wanted to, or run anything. We actually have a Teradata runner right now. So creating our flows are pretty easy. We get these job files. We create these job files that are property files, and they're just key value properties. And the key portion of this is the type field, which is how you define what is going to be executed. All the other parameters are passed to the type, execution type, to determine how it's going to execute. To actually figure out what the DAG is, to actually create the giant DAG, you use the dependency property and you define the dependencies for that job. So in this case, you have bread, the job that is dependent on peanut butter and jelly. And so we'll wait for peanut butter and jelly to complete before it runs, which probably would make this the most delicious Hadoop job ever. And so how do we, so more about executors. Well, we have a bunch of built-in types of executors. The more standard one is the command line. You can run any command line you want. You also have Java classes which wraps the command line with a lot of more common Java features like JVM arguments and class paths, and Ruby and Python. But a big part is that it's extensible. So we're able to have, well, we actually released a common set of executors under a package called Azkaban plugins for running Pig, Hive, Hadoop, Java. And there's actually no Hadoop dependencies packaged with Azkaban, all part of the plugin executors. This actually allows us to run multiple versions of Pig, multiple versions of Hive, even run on multiple versions of Hadoop on one instance of Azkaban because they're just packaged with that executor plugin. And it's very easy to create these types of executors. In fact, at LinkedIn, one common thing we do is after we process all our data, we actually like pushing it to Voldemort to serve on our main site. And so at LinkedIn, we created a Voldemort executor type that actually does all of that work for you, and it's actually heavily used right now. So how do we upload? Well, we take all of our job files, jars, whatever resources you want, we just zip them together. And then through the web UI, you can just upload it. Some people don't like using browsers, so you can also curl and post your zip files into Azkaban. And in fact, a lot of people, a lot of groups in LinkedIn actually just do that. But once it's uploaded, to execute your job, it's very easy to do that. You just see your day, and you click on execute, and you can track almost every progress, every piece of what's running in Azkaban, your whole day there. And of course, there's scheduling. Currently, we only have a simple scheduler. You just set the date and the recurrence value. We are looking into adding more smart behavior, like maybe days of weeks. And it's not just accessible for just executors. We're also able to slap on different types of facades on top of it and tools. So one of the more common tools that we use at LinkedIn is an HDFS browser. Because a lot of our data is encoded, we don't want to see raw byte much, we want to see what that data is. So we decode it inside this. And there's a link between what you're running and the data that's being produced. So it's nice to couple those things together. Also, we're going to come out with a Reportal plugin soon. Reportal is for simple reporting. There are some users who don't want to go through that mess of creating a job, creating a zip, uploading it, and then scheduling for execution. This is a one-stop place for those people who just want to create a Hive query or a Pig query, or Teradata query in our case, or just pretty easily get this all stack. And so I'll give you a short demo of it. And so here's Azkaban. I gotta turn around now. So once they're in the front page, it shows you all of the projects that you have permission to see. So I can create a project and I'll say, example, and my project, I'll upload. From here you can look at the audit of what happened to this project ever since it was created. You can also set the permission, like who's going to see, schedule, execute, write, admin. Go back, edit the description. I'll just upload a file. And then over here I have analysts. A big example. So I can see the different jobs that are in this one flow. There's only one flow in this project. Once I click on it, I can see the next day, and then actually see different components of it. And this doesn't have any execution history, but if it did show up here. So executing and scheduling happens on this one page. From here, I can change different things like notifications, failure options. What should I do on a failure? Should I just complete it as far as I can? Finish what I'm just currently running? Just kill everything? Concurrency options. You can pipeline it, run things concurrently, or just say ignore it if it's already running. And you can override flow parameters. In here, I'll do something simple, like I'll just disable this job. And then I'll execute. So it's running this job right now. You actually should have changed a bit of this. It's actually showing you what's running by blue. This is disabled, so it's not going to run that. I think this is 21 seconds. I should have shortened that. So you can see it's updating on the fly there. The flow logs show you what's happening in the flow at any given time, what Azkaban is doing with it. And so you see that it updated. All the blues are what's running right now. And you see for green as it's finishing. If you go to the jobs list, this gives you kind of a dance like chart of a view of what's running and how long it ran in compared to everything else. So this is actually an easy way to determine what's your bottleneck in your whole day. And you can also look at the log files for each one to see what each bit did, what each job did. I can pause and cancel this job. Execution, you can see what's running. Here I have another example running. So I can look at that project, or the flow itself. I can view that previous execution and see what happened there. View the history, all the next stuff for tracking and seeing what your job does. And I'll bring Shia, our summer internet here, who actually worked on the portal, which is kind of interesting as well. That's better.
Oh, all right. That's a really small screen. Okay. This is not my laptop, so no one here. Okay. So, I can't see this. Sorry about that.
Sorry, we should have tried this out beforehand. I don't think I'll do that.
No?
Oh, okay.
What's that?
We'll try
Sorry.
You're fired.
Come on. Show? I think it's a show.
Oh, sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, no. Okay. Just go back.
I saw this. Anyway.
Unfortunately, the resolution is only 800, 600, so it's hard to see.
Okay. Anyway, so Reporto is a tool I've been working on at LinkedIn for people who just want to really quickly spin up a pig or a hive or whatever you want. Teradata works here, and so it's fairly easy to use for people who don't actually want to go into the whole Azkaban interface, creating a project, uploading the files. You can just go in here and so you can just go in here, start creating a reportal, which is basically a simple report that you can do and start running a Hive query or a pig query. Currently you have a Hive pig and Teradata implemented. And I'll just go ahead and show you the stuff that is already there. So for the Hive demo that we have here, if I go to the edit page, it's a really simple word count demo. Anyway, and so you have access that you can do for other people. You can select who can view. It all implements the Azkaban backend, so all the features of Azkaban are here, just in simplified form. And you can just quickly run this, then look at what's going on here, get the logs. Small page. So tracks. Basically, if you go into the Azkaban executing framework, you can see that it's an actual Azkaban job running in the back. It's just a UI that's on top. So the other part of Porto is that data comes back really easily, and you can quickly see the data that came out of your query, whether it's a Hive or Pig or Teradata. And so you have this CSV file that's being generated here. And through this CSV file, you can actually graph it on Spot. Or that. So it graphs the data that came out. Or you could go in and download it and download the CSV file to graph on Excel, whatever you guys use. That's about it, I think. And you could, there's a really simple search feature here to go through if you have a lot of reporters. It's a simple port of what we had, and then there was a tool that ran on Python that did similar stuff. But we're just using Azkaban as a backend, and this really shows how Azkaban can be extensive with plugins.
Yeah, thanks, Shida. So just to finish off, I hope I don't have as much problems. Okay. So some future work that's going to happen. We are looking at higher availability. Want to make sure we're not called at night when things go to hell. We want a generic triggering system, not just for time, but also perhaps HTTP hosting or even data triggers. We want to be able to embed graphs inside of other graphs, and we're going to soon have conditional branching. One of the things we absolutely want to do is have an admin client, which will allow us to monitor and maintain Azkaban a little easier. And a good number of these features will be like hopefully the generic triggering, embedded graphs, conditional branching. The reportal system will be available for the next version of Azkaban, which will come out sometime next month. And so for more information, we have a nice Azkaban page, although that is a more difficult URL to remember. But you can always go to our data.linkedin.com. We have a link to our Azkaban website, and our code is on GitHub. So that's the end, and just to be cliche, we are hiring in the Hadoop team. So if you are interested, please come to talk to us. So I guess questions?
Yes, so we can open for questions. Do you have any questions?
In the presentation you mentioned I just wonder what's your personal view in the long term? Continue going to OZ law and
what's my personal view? You don't want to get my personal view. No, my thought is that, like I said, we're targeting Lucy, and we kind of do that a different direction. I kind of feel like we're adding features faster to make it more complete faster, and Lucy is adding a nice UI. And so, we're in a collision course. Sometime it's going to meet. I think we're going to just be farther along than any UI portion on Lucy.
Any other questions? Okay. Thank you.
very much.